James Harden just made one of the biggest decisions of the NBA offseason. The former MVP is staying in Cleveland, agreeing to a reported 3-year, $97 million contract. But here's the real question. Did the Cavaliers just secure the missing piece for a championship run, or did they commit too much money to a 37-year-old guard? James Harden's NBA future was one of the biggest questions of the offseason. He had already declined his $42.3 million player option for the 2026-27 season because he wanted a longer-term commitment. Now, he has exactly that. Harden has agreed to a reported 3-year, $97 million contract with Cleveland, according to his agents. The deal reportedly includes a player option for 2028-29 and a trade kicker. And this isn't just another contract. This could completely change Cleveland's next few seasons. Let's start with the number. $97 million. That's a huge commitment. But Cleveland didn't acquire Harden because they needed another superstar scorer just for the sake of having one. They brought him in because they needed experience. They needed another creator. And they needed someone who could help Donovan Mitchell carry the offensive load. Harden is now 37 years old, so Cleveland clearly isn't betting on the Harden of 2018. They're betting on the veteran version. The passer. The pick-and-roll creator. The player who can slow the game down. And the guy who has spent more than a decade playing at the highest level. And here's why the Cavaliers wanted him back. After joining Cleveland at the trade deadline last season, Harden averaged 20.5 points and 7.7 assists across 26 regular season games for the Cavaliers. Those numbers tell you something important. Cleveland wasn't simply experimenting with Harden. He immediately became an important offensive piece. And now the Cavaliers have decided, we want more. This could be the biggest reason Cleveland wanted to keep Harden. Donovan Mitchell has already proven that he can be the primary scorer. But asking one player to create almost everything in the postseason is dangerous. Harden gives Mitchell another player who can initiate offense. Imagine a playoff possession. Mitchell has the ball. Harden is running the pick and roll. The defense has to decide, do we trap Harden? Do we stay with Mitchell? Do we protect the paint? And that's where Cleveland becomes dangerous. Because every defensive decision creates another opportunity. This is probably the biggest misconception. Cleveland doesn't need Harden to average 30 points. They don't need 40-point performances every week. They need him to control the offense. They need him to create open shots. They need him to make smart passes. And when the offense gets stuck, they need Harden to create something. That's a completely different job from the one he had during his Houston years. And at this stage of his career, that might actually be perfect for him. Harden could also make life much easier for Evan Mobley. Mobley is one of Cleveland's most important young players. But big men can become much more dangerous when they have elite guards creating opportunities for them. Harden's pick-and-roll game has been one of his trademarks for years. So now Cleveland can put Harden and Mobley together and force defenses into difficult decisions. If the defense switches, Mobley could attack. If they drop, Harden can create. If help comes, someone else could be open. That versatility is exactly what Cleveland needs. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Harden is 37. That's the part Cavaliers fans cannot ignore. A 3-year commitment means Cleveland could still be paying Harden when he's approaching 40. And that's where this contract becomes a gamble. Will Harden remain productive? Will his athleticism decline? Can he stay healthy? And most importantly, will he still be effective when Cleveland needs him most, in the playoffs? Those are legitimate questions. But there's another way to look at this. The Cavaliers aren't rebuilding. They're trying to win now. They already have Mitchell. They have Mobley. They've now added Peyton Watson. And they're keeping Harden. Cleveland acquired Watson from Denver in a 5-team transaction, with Watson reportedly receiving a 4-year, $88 million contract. So look at what Cleveland is doing. They're not waiting. They're building. They're taking risks. They're trying to create a roster capable of competing immediately. And Harden staying is another major part of that strategy. This is where things get really interesting. Cleveland's newest young addition gives the team another athletic wing option. Harden gives them veteran playmaking. Mitchell gives them elite scoring. Mobley gives them size and defensive versatility. Suddenly, Cleveland has a much more interesting mix of youth and experience. That's important in the playoffs, because young teams can have talent. Veteran teams know how to survive pressure. Cleveland is trying to combine both. This is the question. The Cavaliers have been close. They've had talented rosters. They've had great regular season stretches. But the Eastern Conference doesn't care about regular season hype. Eventually, Cleveland has to win in May. And that's where everything gets tested. Mitchell has to perform. Mobley has to take another step. Harden has to stay healthy. And the supporting cast has to make shots. If those things happen, Cleveland could become a serious problem. But if one of those pieces breaks down, the $97 million commitment could suddenly look very different. There's also a personal storyline here. Harden's career has taken him through Oklahoma City, Houston, Brooklyn, Philadelphia, the Clippers, and now Cleveland. He's been an MVP. He's been an All-Star 11 times. And he's spent years trying to win another championship. Now he's choosing Cleveland. That's significant, because Harden could have looked for another situation. Instead, he's committing to the Cavaliers for 3 more seasons. And that tells you he believes this team can win. So, was Cleveland right to give Harden $97 million? I'm leaning yes, but with caution. If you're trying to win immediately, Harden makes sense. He's still an elite playmaker. He can score. He can create. And he gives Mitchell another offensive weapon. But the final year of the contract could become risky. Cleveland is betting that Harden's basketball IQ and skill will continue to outweigh the physical decline that naturally comes with age. If that happens, this could be a great deal. If Harden declines rapidly, the Cavaliers could regret the commitment. James Harden is staying in Cleveland. 3 years, $97 million. And now the Cavaliers have made it clear, they're not rebuilding, they're trying to win. But here's the question. Can James Harden help Cleveland win the NBA championship? Yes or no? Tell me your answer in the comments. And if you want daily NBA news, trades, rumors, and analysis, subscribe to NBA Blitz.